After losing everything I own to the 2019 bushfires in Australia, I've rebuilt my life and plan on travelling to every continent with my Africa twin. Join me on this adventure as I rise from the ashes of my former life. Welcome back. My name's Simon. If you happen to be new here, this channel is all about motorcycles, adventure, camping and touring. Currently, we're in Merimbula, which is in the south coast of New South Wales. We're on our way down to Eden. Eden is the most southerly town in New South Wales. And there's a few interesting things down there, but I'll tell you about it when we get there. And this is the very quaint little township of Pambula. Absolutely lovely little place, like some gorgeous buildings in it too. But even the modern ones have got this real quaint sort of feel to them. Which is actually really kind of nice. But like that beautiful old pink building over there and the commercial hotel here, you know, such a lovely little place. It's not very big, but it's a lovely little place. So Eden is famous for a number of things, one of which is whales. Eden was actually a whaling village where they would catch the whales for their meat and oils and that sort of thing. And we'll go down and have a look at where that was, down on the coastline. It's also famous for its killer whales. And the killer whales are like the apex predator of the oceans, like they'll kill sharks. So actually there was a large pod of killer whales spotted here, I think last week. I remember seeing something in the press about it. Yeah, I'm sure it was last week. They spotted a large pod of killer whales. They haven't seen any that close for a long time. And of course Eden is also famous for actually just being able to see the whales on their migration up and down the coastline of Australia. So I couldn't tell you what I did and didn't see when I came to Eden as a small child, camping with my family. But, I mean, there are certain things here that seem very familiar, like the little lighthouse just back there. And I know that my mum slipped over on rocks. There's a lot of rocky coastline here. So we're just down at the Eden Marina. As you see here, like they do bay cruises and whale watching and that sort of thing. But just over here in front of me, see where that big tugboat is? There's a boat that's capsized there. Someone told me that one of the big fishing trawlers came in and just sunk here. But yeah, apparently it just sank. Like literally right here at the shoreline. What a pretty little beach too. So this is Eden. Can't see why it's called that. So I did promise to tell you a little bit about it here too. So Eden is on the south coast of New South Wales, and it's 478 kilometres south of Sydney, and it's the most southerly town in New South Wales. It's built on undulating land adjacent to the third deepest natural harbour in the southern hemisphere. And back in the whaling days, look at these waves, isn't that cool? Back in the whaling days, they used to have people stationed at the towers all the way over the other side of the bay there, and they would basically raise the alarm if they saw the puff of water and air being thrown up by whales breaching off the coast, and then all the little whaling boats would go out and try and capture the whale, because whaling was a huge thing back then. It was before the treaty on, you know, the capture of whales and the whole whaling industry. But there used to be a group of killer whales that used to also herd the whales into the harbour, into the bay here, so that the whalers could capture them, and then the whalers would give the killer whales chunks of whale meat. I mean, kind of gruesome, but it worked. And apparently the killer whales were quite good at this. Obviously they liked their whale meat, and they liked not having to really work hard for it.
Walking on sand in big boots is not so easy.
So I really love it when I'm out doing something like standing on a beach dressed in all my motorbike gear, holding a big stick and swinging it around and all sorts of stuff, and two ladies just walk past and they're like, "What's the stick? What's that do?" And I said, "Oh, that's a 360 camera," and explained the whole concept of it. And they're like, "Oh, cool. Where can we see the video?" So hopefully by the time this video comes out, they'll have subscribed, and I said, if you're very lucky, you might even get a glimpse of yourself. I'm not sure where exactly I turned the camera off. They said, "Oh, okay, that'll be cool." So so there you go. Doesn't matter where you go, people find it interesting to see the weird things that I do. There we go. Now they're on it. They'll love that. So I need to go and get some fuel and get back to my friend's place before it rains. And it's just starting to spit. However, it's only like a 20-minute trip, so hopefully I won't get wet. And thankfully, I think that's a petrol station up there, so that works very well for me. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it quits for today on the camera. I really hope you've enjoyed a quick look around the New South Wales south coast, around the town of Eden, and learned a little bit about the history of Eden and the whaling. Unfortunately, the Killer Whale Museum was closed. The Killer Whale Museum actually has the skeleton of a killer whale that I think they said his name was Old Tom, and he was the best one at rounding up the whales and helping the whalers out. Anyway, guys, until next time, ride safe and get out and live your own adventure.